Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Jody Pushkin. I am the manager of the newspaper and education program at the Tampa Bay Times. And Sue, if you want to weigh in, Sue is the development officer at the Tampa Bay Times. She is going to be chiming in. And we have the illustrious, I believe it's Chief
Science,
Education,
Chief Science Officer.
Chief Science Officer. Warren is from Tampa Bay Water. And he is going to kick things off for us today.
Thank you, Jody.
Welcome.
I've got a presentation to share that'll walk through some highlights of what we would like to share with you today. And in sharing that, let me make sure that I get set up here. Share. Can you see the full screen presentation?
Actually, it looks like we can see two slides.
Okay, it's the wrong one.
I think you're
Uh,
in the wrong format.
okay, it shared the wrong screen. So let's try that again.
Oh,
Screen one, share. How about now?
perfect.
Okay. I have to know the difference between one and two. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Warren Hogg, Chief Science Officer, Science Guy for Tampa Bay Water. Um, I have a presentation. I'm pretty informal in when I speak to groups, so I'm happy to take your questions as we go. I'm happy to take questions at the end if you'd like for me to walk through the high-level highlights of what we have to show. So it's really a webinar for you. How can we share the information that can help you do your jobs to help teach and inspire our children to protect our water supplies for the next and all future generations? As I mentioned, I am the Chief Science Officer. I've been at Tampa Bay Water and its former agency since the beginning of 1987. So I've grown up here. I started as a data intern when I was at USF. I was a hungry graduate student, and it turned into a part-time job, a full-time job, a career, and a passion. And I cannot imagine having worked anywhere else, and I'm not done yet. As a quick introduction, Tampa Bay Water is the wholesale water supplier for the Tampa Bay area. We're lucky. We're a utility that only has 6 customers. They just happen to be really big customers. We deliver water at wholesale. We make no profit. We deliver water through pipes to Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas counties, and the cities of Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Newport Richey. Last year, we delivered an average of 202 million gallons a day, and that through those 6 governments, we serve about 2.6 million people each day. So our reach is pretty broad, even though it covers just the 3-county Tampa area. And our area, as all of you know, is growing really fast. So we have a lot to keep up with and to stay ahead. A lot of utilities have water supply, and they also have wastewater and stormwater. But as a wholesaler, Tampa Bay Water just has one job. We meet the demands of the member governments every day, 24/7, without fail. It's our only job. We're here to provide water for all the citizens that's guaranteed to be clean, safe, and reliable. A lot of times when I talk to groups, civic groups, clubs, I'll sometimes start with asking a question: do you know where your water comes from? And correctly, I get a common answer: it comes out of the tap, which is true. But then I'll follow up: do you know how it gets to your tap? And most people don't realize where their water comes from. At Tampa Bay Water, we are unique in, I believe, the United States. one or two utilities that are just about to do the same thing that we are doing. We have three completely different water sources. We take water from the aquifer, from well fields, and you see those on the map in the larger green areas. There are wells there, they pull water out of the limestone aquifer, and we use that water for drinking every day. We also take water from two rivers, from the Hillsborough River and Tampa Bypass Canal system, and also from the Alafaya River. We take water from Tampa Bay, which is salty. We run it through our desalination plant under high pressure, and that completely separates out the salt from the water. The water is then drinkable, and we mix it with our other sources and deliver that to our customers. We know that rainfall in the Tampa area is feast or famine. We get a lot in the summer. From pretty much now through the end of May of next year, we're not going to get a lot of rain and the river flows begin to drop. So we can't rely on the rivers to give us a lot of water to use. So during the summer, we fill up our reservoir. We built this about 25 years ago, and it's a 15 billion gallon reservoir south of Lithia, south of Brandon. So when the rivers are flowing really hard, we take that extra water that we don't need that day, we pipe it down to the reservoir and store it. So when the rivers don't flow as much, we let that water come back by gravity to our surface water plant, and we sustain our water supplies. It's our water savings account. We're storing it in the summer for the dry time when we know we'll need it. I've talked a little about our infrastructure, all of our pipes. We've got pumping stations and water treatment plants all along the system that you see on the map. The straighter blue lines are our pipelines, and we move a lot of water. I mentioned 202 million gallons a day last year. And to move that, we need big pipes. Our biggest pipes moving the bulk of our water are 84-inch inside diameter. So we can easily walk down the middle of the pipelines and have no risk of hitting our heads. We have miles of that. Our region's growing. And since we have that unequivocal obligation to meet demands every day, now and for the future, we have a 5-year planning cycle that looks for those next water supplies so that we can build those, add them to our system to have it online before that demand comes. Our projects are large and they're expensive, and it takes us about 10 years to go from a conceptual planning to commissioning of a plant and producing water. So we've got that 5-year rolling planning cycle, and we're constantly in the process of building the next water supply components. When we talk about the environment, everything comes back to the hydrologic cycle. It's nature's way of replenishing itself and moving water through the environment. I imagine some of you are familiar with this from your teaching classes. It all really starts with rainfall. As the rain falls, it hits the land surface. It's going to either run off into wetlands or lakes, it runs off into rivers that go to the bay, or it evaporates back into the atmosphere to come back down as rainfall another day. Once water hits land surface, it can either run off, run into a lake or wetland or the bay, or it sits on land surface and it infiltrates downward into the aquifer system. Florida is a very fortunate state because we have a thick layer of sand on top of limestone. And that limestone can produce hundreds of millions of gallons per day from wells and springs, and it's constantly replenishing itself. If you think of Florida as a ridge, the highest part of the state is along the spine, along the middle. It's kind of a corridor that runs from Georgia all the way down towards Miami and the Keys. The rain that falls on the middle of the state is going to go two directions. It's going to hit the land surface and go towards either coast, or it's going to go down into the aquifer and then travel side to side towards either coast. So it's a constant cycle of water movement through the aquifer, through rivers to the bay. It evaporates back into the atmosphere. It comes down as rain. So the groundwater cycle, the hydrologic cycle, groundwater, surface water, rainfall, it drives everything that we do. Our water is extremely precious to us. We work with a lot of groups to try to get the message out of preserving and protecting our water resources. There's been a lot of communities in the United States that have adopted this protectionism. The Chesapeake Bay watershed up in the upper East Coast is a great example. They have signage all over the place. You're entering the Chesapeake Bay watershed, and they've got a lot of education that goes with that to say, what is a watershed? Whatever you put on the land surface is going to wind up in our bay, and they're very passionate about their bay. Similar, we're very passionate about Tampa Bay here. And we have a lot of groups, Keep Tampa Beautiful, Keep Pinellas Beautiful, that do a lot of education towards um, making sure that citizens know, from school kids up to retirees, understand the importance of protecting our water sources. We get a lot of threats in our area from pollution, either runoff. Think of whatever drips out of your car onto the road is going to go into the stormwater system. And in a lot of places, that's not at all treated. That's going to eventually go to a creek, a stream, a river, or the bay eventually. So any grease, any oils, anything that comes down is going to wash off into the environment. There's been a lot of information in the past few years and fertilizer ordinances. Before the ordinances, we would have landscaping companies or homeowners wanting beautiful green yards. So they would fertilize, and sometimes they would fertilize too much with the wrong materials. And instead of slow release and sinking into the ground so that the grass and the plants could use that fertilizer, it would run off. Well, fertilizer is nitrogen and phosphorus, which causes algal blooms. It hurts the marine life. It can help kill seagrasses, which we've worked very hard to restore and maintain in the bay. So chemical waste, yard waste, pet waste. There's a lot of nitrogen in pet waste and some viruses and bacteria. So teaching people to pick up pet waste, don't just let it go down a storm sewer. Yard care companies don't just blow the grass clippings into the storm sewer system to get rid of them. They could clog the system up and cause localized flooding. Also, we don't need all that running off into the bay where it breaks down and can cause problems. So there's a lot of different ways we communicate how important it is to understand that hydrologic cycle and understand that whatever we do has an effect on our environment. It's really important to protect it. We go beyond just water quality. We talk a lot about water conservation. It makes our area more sustainable for water supplies. Every gallon that we save is a gallon of water we don't have to go develop somewhere and spend a lot of money building and treating. We have a program called Tampa Bay WaterWise, and there's information about it on our website, tampabaywater.org, O-R-G. And we give the public rebates for changing out old inefficient toilets, putting in shower heads and faucet aerators that are more water conserving and not wasteful, putting in smart irrigation controllers so that you only use on your yard the amount of water that you need. We work with hotels, motels, apartments, government buildings, schools to retrofit those old water intensive fixtures for more efficient ones that often honestly work better than the old ones. We'll give people and entities rebates to change that out. We started that program, unfortunately, at the beginning of COVID. So it took a while to get some traction and get public buy-in. By the end of this year, we will have saved over 1 million gallons of water per day. And that's a daily savings that will go in perpetuity. So once we accomplish those savings, we know that that's 1 million gallons a day that we don't have to go develop. For planning for new water supplies, 1 million gallons a day of new water costs us 10 to 15 million dollars to go find it and develop it. So the more water we save, the more things we don't have to go build, and that keeps everybody's water bills as low as possible. So conservation is really important. Tampa Bay Water has a history of environmental protection, but we overcame some problems with our predecessor agency. We were known as the West Coast Regional Water Supply Authority, and we were, prior to 1998, we were all groundwater. We had no river intakes, we had no reservoir, no desalination plant, and local governments and Tampa Bay Water had well fields. We pulled water out of the aquifer. The city of Tampa did have a permit to take water out of the river, but that was really the only other source of water in our region other than well fields or water from the aquifer. The Water Management District over time had given permits for more water than should have been taken. And we had a growing population, and West Coast Water Supply Authority pumped too much from the ground. And we hit a severe drought in the mid-late 1990s going into 2000. And you see a picture on the left, which is a lake, believe it or not, between two of our well fields in north central Pasco County. And most of the time, there was no standing water at all. If you walked out to the middle of the lake, there were fish skeletons, and there was no wildlife because there was no water for the fish. The birds left because there was nothing to eat. When we reformed into Tampa Bay Water, one of the main goals was to create environmental restoration. And we did that for these environments by cutting our groundwater pumping in half. We had been pumping as a total 160 million gallons a day from these well fields. There were 11 of them. We reduced it by 50%. So we went from 160 to 80. And over time, we realized that that was the right number. Actually, it could be higher. We have a permit for 90. We usually don't get that high. But because we cut our pumping rate in half, we're not drawing water down from the surface into the aquifer where the wells are, and the environment has fully recovered. We had a study that concluded in 2019, and we studied about 1,500 individual lakes and wetlands across the northern Tampa Bay area. And we documented for the state that every wetland and every lake fully recovered as much as it could, given the growth that's gone on around it. And they renewed our permit at the time because we had created environmental recovery. So it's a great story of how paying attention to the environment, working to protect our water sources has a great benefit. Funny story on this lake, the owner was a Mr. Stanford. And the photo on the right is the same lake 10 years later, and his dock was usually underwater. He called me one day. Water levels had come back up. He asked, I used to have fish. Can you put some fish in my lake? And one of the staff said, look, I'll go get some gambusia, some little bait fish. I'll go out there and I'll put a couple of big loads of fish in his lake, and they can grow up and he can go fish. He had retired, and he was very happy until one day he called me and said, you got to come help me. Bring a lot of nets. Water levels are so high in my lake, it's spilling over to the neighbors' lakes, and my fish are getting away. And my answer was, who is this? I explained, I'm very sorry. We can't corral your fish for you, but we're very happy that the system has restored itself to that level, and the little fish are now big enough that you can see them, some of them escaping into your neighbor's ponds. He wasn't happy with me because I wouldn't come out with a lot of nets that would encircle a 40-acre lake. But most of his fish stayed in his pond, and he was able to fish for the years that he remained on the property. So we do work with the public for environmental restoration, and we're very proud of the success that we like to talk about environmental recovery because we are showing what we as a community can do. Why do wetlands matter to us? Um, the water that collects in wetlands, and you see them out on cattle ranches, pristine areas, you see them along the side of Dale Mabry Highway or US 19. Wetlands are really important for us because the plant material act as natural filters. They grow because of nutrients. So if we get nitrogen and fertilizer running off into wetlands and into stormwater ponds that are vegetated, that vegetation will take up those nutrients. So whatever discharges towards the bay or the rivers is now clean, and we're protecting the bay system and the Gulf environment. They are critical for wildlife. When we go out to the well fields, even the wetlands that we monitor along major roads, it's really surprising the amount of wildlife that inhabit those systems. Mammals, we find deer all over the place, even in urbanized areas just north of Clearwater, north of Tampa. A lot of small mammals, tons of birds. The wetlands that have standing water all year long always have fish. So it's really important for wildlife. Once you get the fish back, the birds will stay. Other animals come in because the birds are there, and it's a symbiotic relationship that works only when the water is there. We do continue a lot of restoration and protection projects, both on our own and for others. Anytime we have a construction project that may temporarily impact a wetland, we go to great pains to minimize the impact, fully restore once we're done, or take wetlands that are nearby and enhance them, make them better, add more water, sustain the water, clean it, expand them in some way so that we make sure that we're having a positive footprint on the environment as we operate in the area. One challenge that we have, and we know that we're going to continue to have, is finding the next generation of Tampa Bay water warriors. We have many different job disciplines just at our agency. We have, I think, 163 full-time employees plus interns. Um, and we have a workforce that has really begun to retire. Within the last 3 or 4 years, we have lost a lot of employees to retirement, and I'm happy for them, but we're sad to see them go. Some of them had been with us 35 to 40 years. I've been here for a total of 39. The man that runs our warehouse was a former maintenance worker. He's been with us now for over 42 years and has no plans to retire. But we know that will happen. So we need people coming up that can replace us and carry on our mission. We have scientists in all respects, just the science division that I direct. We have engineers, water resource engineers, people that model the groundwater, surface water systems, monitor how our climate is changing and what does that mean to us. We have geologists, biologists, ecologists, chemists, and microbiologists because we have to test the water to make sure it's safe every day. We have to design those new systems so that others here can build them. We talk to uh, people of all ages. We like to talk to people as they're beginning their education. Can we inspire a spark of passion for science or for the environment as kids are growing up? And maybe that can help them find a path through school. We go to high schools, trade colleges. We go to colleges for career fairs just to let people know of the opportunities. As I mentioned, I can't imagine working anywhere else. And I've still got years to go here because my work here is not done. We do um, we do have great benefits here. We've started recently, we did have it for a while and we got away from it, but we've started a water plant operator trainee program. If someone just says college is not my path, but I need a good paying job that matters, we desperately need new water plant operators, people that make sure the water system works, all the pumps and the pipes and controls. We will bring people in that have a desire to learn, and we have a 1 year mentorship apprenticeship program. It's a full-time employee position, but our success rate has been, I think, 100%. Everyone we've brought into that position has gotten their Class C water plant operator license as soon as it was possible. And we have people here that are now very happy. They see I didn't want to go to college, but I now have a job that means something to my community. It means something to me. I get a good living wage and I get great benefits, and I'm part of this family now. So that's a program that we're really proud of, and we're continuing to grow that. We have a growing IT staff that supports a lot of the high level computing that we do, and also our cybersecurity. We have to make sure that this water supply system is as tightly controlled as possible so that we minimize the risk of someone coming in from the outside and causing disruption. As I mentioned, we have a laboratory. We have a lot of engineers that do design work, they do construction work, they do mathematical modeling. So we have a lot of different career paths here at Tampa Bay Water. We love to get kids involved because their ability to absorb and learn is just infinite. We have worked with Great Explorations, and they have a great exhibit at their facility down by Sunken Gardens in St. Petersburg. I really encourage you to go and play with the exhibit. If you have the opportunity to take kids there, it's a great hands-on exhibit. They created a three-dimensional wetland, and at the top you see the children looking into that wetland. They can make it rain. There's a button that they can push that begins the hydrologic cycle. Rain comes down out of clouds. It hits the land surface. And as I was describing the hydrologic cycle, some of it runs off into a little river and it goes down from left to right towards the bay, which they've simulated. And it also filters downward through the aquifer. You can see that brown layer is the sands and clays. Below it is a bunch of rock that shows what it's like in the Floridan aquifer. Water moves a lot more freely and it moves side to side. And as the kids make it rain, they can see that rain going down and then moving along through the aquifer system. The staff at Great Explorations built a magnificent exhibit. The plants that you can see there are all live plants. They created a system that's self-sustaining, and I think they're going to keep it in place for, I believe, a minimum of 5 years. They needed to show a wetlands, and the man that was doing the plant design looked and looked and looked. He wanted something to look like a cypress tree, and we know there's no small cypress trees. So he got bonsai trees that were shaped like and looked like cypress. and that represents the cypress wetlands. And it just floored me how creative they were in building this. There's a lot of signage there to spark interest in for the kids, and there are focus exhibits around the room that show the animals that live in the wetlands. There's a corn snake named Gary. When this opened, we went on a few of the morning television shows, and their staff brought Gary along. And everybody was either fascinated by Gary. One of the hosts, which I won't name, disappeared from the room before he entered and never returned until after we left. I get it. Some people have a fear of snakes, but Gary was there for an important part of the story. He and snakes like him live in wetlands, and they need that environment, and they protect it and help it. They aerate the soil, they keep the animals and the bugs in balance. And without Gary living in the wetland, it's not going to be healthy. So those animals are in focus exhibits around the room. It's a real great story. Another activity that we love to do is what we call the edible aquifer activity. And we can do this for groups. We do this at the Great American Teach-In. We have the materials that describe how to do this. I know we've done it for public groups. We've done it at Girl Scout camps. We do it many places. Basically, we're giving each child a clear plastic cup and a straw. And then we're giving them the materials to build an aquifer in the cup. They start with the aquifer, more gravelly stuff. It's gummy bears, it's candy pieces of some kind. And that's got a lot of spaces in it. On top of that, they put on ice cream, which is that confining layer that tends to keep the water at the top, and it slowly will move down into the aquifer. We have them pour a clear soda like Sprite on the top, and they can see that going down through the ice cream layer, and it gets into the aquifer, and they can kind of start to see how that works. We have them drink some of it. Yeah, that tastes good. We then give them some orange soda and tell them to slowly pour that on the land surface. The orange soda is pollution, and they can see the pollution sitting there, and then it starts to find its pathways through the soils and clays, and it gets down in the lower aquifer. We tell them to take a drink, and then we get these expressed like, ew, that tastes bad. That's the point. What you put on the land surface will wind up in the aquifer, and that's the water you're going to drink. So let's now learn how to protect the environment by not polluting. So that's a great way that kids can begin to learn and to get curious about environmental protection. We've got staff that come and do that, and I think the staff enjoy it about as much as the kids. It's a fun activity. There's a lot of places to get a more hands-on tour and look at what we do. We do tours of most of our water treatment facilities. It allows students to come in, and we do this for grade school, high school, college, even later on. We have, every time a politician comes in and gets interested or comes on our board, we take them on a tour of our facilities so they can see firsthand what we do. If any of you are interested in showing your students hands-on what is a reservoir, what is a desalination plant, how do they take salt out of the water so it's drinkable? How about a well field and a wetland? What is that? We have staff that can take kids out and show them nature, show them how the animals live there, the fish, how they all interact. And it's a really good immersive couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. There's places that give focused attention to that. Brooker Creek Preserve has a great facility up in North Pinellas County, Nature's Classroom in Hillsborough County. There's another great, there's a nature center at the Starkey Wellfield in Newport Richey. And there's another one up at the Crossbar Ranch well field, which is our northernmost well field. It's almost up to the Hernando County line. And those are all dedicated classroom spaces with exhibits. So you can bring students in and spend a half a day or a day going through focused topics about the environment. And those are places that are open as resources, and we can help direct you to those if you need. We love the community because the community is us. They can help us. We give water conservation and protection mini grants every year, $2,000 to $10,000 per organization. And each of those grants, the organizations will come up with an idea for conservation or protection of water. It's a really easy application process. We can help answer questions, so we make it easy to fill those out. And we're looking for applications for the next year by November 14th. And it's a wide range of grants. Florida Aquarium does a teacher's education program that we've sponsored. The picture shows the Tampa Bay kayak anglers. These are people that love the water because they fish from their kayaks and canoes. And we've actually given them grants to do river cleanups. So they'll take a break from fishing and they'll clean up the environment. And they're always stunned at how much debris and garbage they pull out in one of these sponsored events. And they realize, okay, we're protecting the environment we love. We're enhancing the habitat for the fish and the sport that we love. So they keep doing it on their own because they're learning it's that important. So any way that we can reach out to the community to get people's interest in conservation, source water protection programs, we're here to help. With that, I've been talking for a while. I don't even know how long, but I'd be more than happy to answer questions now. And before we break, I'll give you some contact information for how to get in touch with us for any of these programs or tours or the mini grants program or just questions about the resources we can provide.
So if you have a question, you can unmute or you can put it in the chat, whatever makes you happy. I'm going to start off with the questions. I want to know if the politicians get to make their own ice cream aquifers.
I haven't seen one happen. Usually when we go to a large event, we prioritize the children. But if someone brings their kids, they may eat what's left over. But they're certainly there behind their children, and they're as fascinated as the kids are. One event we did about a year ago was down at the Tropicana Field the day that Jane Goodall spoke. It was at least a year ago. It was sponsored by her, and Roots to Shoots is her organization. And we did edible aquifer for about 80 to 100 kids in groups. We had a table set up in their expo for the afternoon, and then we stayed to listen to her wonderful speech that evening to the kids. But we probably reached 100 children that day, and every one of them had parents that were right behind looking in. They were really curious, and they were learning as their kids were learning.
That's great.
It's fun. That was one of my best Saturdays.
So I have a question. I entered a few minutes late, so I entered when you had the map of the well fields.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Pinellas County, and when I teach about our watershed, I understand that we don't extract our own water here in Pinellas County. That's all coming from the Hillsborough. That's correct?
The water that's used in homes and businesses in Pinellas County comes from one of the water supply facilities you see on the screen. Pinellas County itself, Pinellas County and the city of St. Petersburg are our customers in Pinellas, and they get all of their water from us. It's a mixture of water from the ground, from rivers, and from the desalination plant on Tampa Bay. The only regional water that comes from Pinellas County is from the Eldridge Wild Well Field, which is in the extreme northeast corner of the county, very close to Brooker Creek Preserve. It's on the other side of Tarpon Springs Road. There are some very small communities. I know Dunedin, Oldsmar, they have some very small well fields, Tarpon Springs. Most of them are brackish, so they have to pull it out and pull some minor salt out of it. It comes from the ground, they pull the salt out and discharge it. But predominantly, there's not a lot of water produced within Pinellas County. Historically, it was, but saltwater intrusion took that option away.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. How much are we being impacted in Pinellas County with saltwater intrusion?
It is stable. There is salt water underneath the land surface at depth. Whatever water falls on the land surface will create this lens of fresh water that goes from side to side down Pinellas County. But the deeper you go, the saltier it gets. Underneath, it's all salt water in the aquifer up to the bay and the Gulf. But you can't pull very much out of there because you'll cause the salt water to move up too quick. So it's not a sustainable water supply. If you have a shallow well in your yard and that's how you irrigate your yard, there's enough that comes out of there to replenish itself. But for large scale water supply, there's just not enough sustainable water supply to be effective.
So the wells that are drilled here for private homes they're not tapping into that salt water, correct? They're usually shallow enough where they're getting
Correct.
fresh?
Yeah, they're shallow enough that they're in that sustainable freshwater lens. And a home well may produce, the average person in this area uses about less than 100 gallons of water a day. So less than 500 gallons a day on average is coming out of each of those wells. That's sustainable. From our well fields, like up at Crossbar, our wells aren't 2 to 4 inches in diameter, they're 24 inches in diameter. And we can pull 3 to 4 million gallons per day out of each well. So the scale that we have to operate at to be economical is only sustainable once you go away from the coast. And there that's stable. There's no saltwater intrusion that's occurring. We've cut the pumping rate enough so that the freshwater and saltwater wedge in the aquifer has become stable.
How deep are they drilling those personal wells? Like how far down does that fresh water go?
In Pinellas, I think they're probably no more than 150, 200 feet deep at most, I would think. And that should be a sustainable clean water depth. A driller that's putting in a well will know how deep they need to go with their well casing that goes up to land surface and how deep to go to avoid getting into bad water quality, to getting into salty water. So a good driller will know and be able to advise the homeowner. By comparison, the wells that we have in the inland well fields are 700 to 900 feet deep. So we go pretty deep to make sure that there's a lot of open aquifer that can produce that water, and that's a sustainable quantity every day.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a considerable difference.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
In my background, my education is geology, groundwater geology, so I love these questions.
Does anybody else have a question?
I always second guess myself when I talk to the kids about the fact that their water from their faucet is not from our county, because their faces are always like, that can't be true. And I'm like, no, but it is true. So I needed confirmation that that is still true.
That is still true, unless they live in a small, and it's not worth getting into the differences. There's almost no large scale water supply that originates in Pinellas County because of the resource issues we talked about. And that was the spark for the water wars in the 60s through the 90s. Cities and counties were having to go inland to other counties for their water supply because their customers needed water. And then it's like, no, no, I'm growing now. You're taking my water, which all of that litigation and fighting led to the recreation of our agency as Tampa Bay Water. And I'm really happy to say there's been no litigation between our members and us and the state since 1996. We've become a model of regional cooperation. As a region for water, we work together. We have a board made up of 2 county commissioners from each of the 3 counties and an elected official from Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Newport Richey, our city customers. And they've become, over the years, a very productive, cohesive board that works together to solve the problems and not fight. And it's a joy. Hats off to every one of them. They've done magnificent jobs. Good government.
It's crazy we can all get along, right? And work together.
We can, we just have to want to and find the right way to talk to each other and find those common issues and goals that we can work to fix, and then we can.
Any other
have a question.
questions? Yes.
So I'm new to the area, I'm new to Florida, and I noticed like that some cities around, like, and I can give an example, like Sarasota's water stinks really bad and ours doesn't. Why is that?
I'm sorry, I missed a little bit of the question. Could you repeat the end of that? Sarasota, I know you mentioned.
Water stinks, it has a smell to it,
Oh,
and ours doesn't.
the drinking water.
Yeah. Why is that?
That's is it sort of a musty, rotten egg smell that you're smelling?
I think so. Yeah. And I
Okay.
noticed that, like, I think in Orlando too.
Some areas have higher levels of hydrogen sulfide. That's a naturally occurring substance in the aquifer. It originates from decaying organic material at land surface, and as it decays, the water infiltrates in. It'll pick up that sulfide, and it mixes with the hydrogen in the water system to produce that compound. And if you just smell hydrogen sulfides, like, that's rotten eggs. There are ways to treat it. The only area where we have that concern is way down south in the south central well field. You'll see that almost in the bottom right-hand corner of the graph off almost to Polk County. That water has a lot of hydrogen sulfide in it, so we run it through an ozone treatment facility that strips that out so that the water that's delivered from that well field doesn't have that smell. The cities that you visited, they probably don't have those treatment systems in place. Hopefully they will. It's not a safety concern, it's aesthetics. It just doesn't smell good. It's safe, it's just a little stinky.
Any other questions? Warren, I was just going to ask you one more thing about the field trips. You mentioned that can students actually see how water is desalinated if they come to your location?
Yeah, we do take people through the desalination plant. I believe we've taken school groups through. It's a hard hat and a closed shoe environment, but we provide the hats and the safety glasses if needed. We can walk the tour groups up to show them all the parts of the filter systems, including the giant reverse osmosis membranes in tubes. And you can't physically see the water flowing, but our tour guides are good at explaining it on an everyday level. So they can describe how the water is moving and what this thing does and what that part does. And there are places along where the operators take water samples so they can turn a tap and they can see clean, pure water dripping out that they can then take to our operators can take to the lab to analyze. So you can't see the water moving through the membrane tubes, but you can see where it can come out. And we walk people through the whole process to the end.
Very cool.
We do take people down to the reservoir as part of a tour. Um, it's actually a little awe-inspiring to get up there when it's full and you realize you're standing at the edge of a 15 billion gallon, 1,000 acre reservoir that's about 90 feet deep at the deep end. And if the tour groups take the time to drive around the 5 mile perimeter on the top, they'll see the local wildlife. They'll see bald eagles flying by. We can stop and look in the reservoir and see the 10 to 12 foot alligators sunning themselves. So there's some nature involved with that one as well.
Wow.
It's a nice tour if it's not the middle of summer. It's not so nice in the middle of summer.
That
Heat index can go over 120 on the top of the reservoir in the summer. Our staff avoids it in the middle of the day. We don't want heat stroke or heat exhaustion.
Do you have
don't
an
blame you.
age limit to visit the facility?
Do we have employees that work there?
No, age limit to visit, like what age can they go? Like young kids can go?
I believe so. I'll have to ask about the age limits. As long as people stay within the groups and they wear protective equipment, I think it's okay. The places that I would have to question would be the surface water plant or the desal plant with the equipment, but it's a safe environment. But I will need to check with our communications staff on the age limits.
Okay.
And before we started the webinar, Warren, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You were talking about that you volunteer and do a lot of work with Florida Aquarium. What kind of stuff can kids do to help protect the water that's around them without it being too labor intensive?
Oh, the aquarium has lots of programs about that. They're really big on teaching people about the importance of avoiding single-use plastics, straws, buying a six-pack of soda at the store comes with the plastic rings. I don't know how many photographs I've seen of those rings stuck around a turtle's head, and they can't get out of it. If they continue to grow, it will eventually kill the turtle or the fish. That's a big one. They also teach a lot about sustainable, well, it's more for adults, what fish are sustainable to eat and what labels to look at so that you're buying the fish to eat that are safe and better for the environment rather than farm raised or caught in a environmentally damaging way. We do a lot of cleanups with the aquarium, both land-based and for those of us that are divers, we do underwater cleanups all year long. People can join the aquariums group or they can join on their own. Just pulling trash out of the environment. I am a diver at the aquarium. I've been doing that for over 30 years now. And just this year, we've done cleanups once a month since from April through October. This year, we've already cleaned more than 5,000 pounds of debris out of the waters around Tampa, just going out once a month with 10 to 12 divers and 3 or 4 kayakers and a lot of land support. So there's a lot of stuff in the water. Kids can learn not to let stuff get in, but you don't have to get it out. So pollution prevention, single-use plastics are some of the easy ones that everybody can do.
Thank you.
Another great organization that I love.
Does anybody have any more questions? Should we shift presentations?
Stop that sharing.
There you go. I am going to attempt to share my screen if I can find it. There we go. I do want to share a little trivia. You guys don't need to, there's not going to be a test on this, but I was just going to mention that back in, I guess I figured out that it was the late 1980s when I was, before I went into education and before I went into working for the newspaper, I actually worked at the West Coast Regional Water Supply Authority. And had to answer the phone saying that. So I am, I'm very grateful to hear that they reorganized and changed their name to Tampa Bay Water. It's such a more, it flows out of the mouth. So, as I mentioned, I am the newspaper and education manager at the Tampa Bay Times. I'm going to show you a little bit about our program, and then we're going to talk more specifically about the education publication we put together in partnership with Tampa Bay Water. So, can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, I was going to skip this slide, but since Samantha was sitting here listening to everything Warren said on my lap, I figured you should see her picture. I don't know if you could see her or not. She was kind of looking over the computer screen, but before joining the newspaper and education program, I was a full-time teacher for Hillsborough County Schools. In my spare time, I currently adjunct at Hillsborough Community College and St. Leo University. So I know some of the struggles that you guys are dealing with, especially the fact that my adult students tell me that, you know, they don't read and they don't know what's going on in the world around them and that sort of thing. So I know that this information is important for you guys as well. For those of you who don't know, I think we have a couple of teachers from private schools that are not on our roster right now. NIE is a cooperative effort between schools and the newspaper to promote the use of newspapers as a educational resource. And we provide newspapers in print, and we also provide digital licenses. The goal is to build future lifelong readers and critical thinkers, which is very important. We provide free resources to teachers in Citrus, Hernando, Hillsborough, Manatee, Pasco, Pinellas, and Polk counties. Thanks to generous sponsors and the grants that we apply for, like the initiative that Tampa Bay Water has, we are able to supply those resources plus curriculum to you guys. I'm not going to go through the specifics of this, but research shows that students using the newspaper as an educational resource score more highly on standardized tests. Why do you think that is? Anybody have a guess? No guesses?
More critical thinking skills.
Absolutely. More critical thinking skills and more reading. The goal is to get them to read something other than texts and to develop the habit of learning more about the world around them. So using the newspaper on a daily basis is a great way to provide that vital link between the real world and your academic programs. It's a great way to understand today's critical issues. As we know, water is very, very important to all of us, especially here in Florida. We had a couple of weeks, I think, where it was raining every single day, and now I'm not seeing any of that. So it's important for kids to know where their water comes from and how to protect it. Newspapers are both a primary and a secondary source. The goal of a primary source is to have the information from the original documents. Secondary sources, of course, are accounts that retell or analyze or interpret those events, and both of those are present in the newspaper. And of course, the newspaper is informational text. I don't know why my phone is going off. That was really weird. Since I am an English teacher, all of our educational materials contain best standards. It is not just the words in the newspaper that are considered informational text. It is also the graphics, the cartoons, the advertisements, the charts, photos, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. All of those things contribute to getting students to think critically. I'm going to skip that one. And for those of you who are not NIE teachers, you can sign up to receive print and or digital copies by going to our website, which is tampabay.com/NIE, and clicking sign up here. And there's a form for you to fill out where you can go ahead and order newspapers. The print newspapers, we deliver twice a week. I'm sorry, we print twice a week. We deliver once a week. We print the Sunday paper and the Wednesday paper, and both of those can be delivered to your schools on Wednesday. The digital edition is 7 days a week. It is available for you to look at archives as well as the present newspaper, and I'm going to show you a sample of that as well. We also have on the science, well, one's on the science front, the other is not. We have two brand new hubs that we have promoting. One is our environment hub, and the other is our education hub. The Tampa Bay Times is a founding member of the Florida Climate Reporting Network, which has 17 different news organizations that are participating. The information on that page is very up to date and very current, and there's a lot of detail about the environment on there. So science, in a nutshell, right, is not just what you read in a textbook, and it's not just about the experiments. It's also what goes on in our everyday lives. Whenever you turn on a faucet, whenever you turn on a light switch, all of those things are science related. So the newspaper is a great tool to use to explore science beyond just what's going on in the textbook. We also have, and like I said, I'm going to show you our website in a minute, but we also have curriculum supplements that are specific to science. One of them, of course, is the Be a Pinellas County Water Protector, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And also, like I said, I'm going to bring up our website. So this is the publication I've been talking about, Be a Pinellas County Water Protector. And will you please, Sue or Warren, remind me of the name of the mini grant program again?
It's the Water Conservation and Protection Mini Grant Program. I dropped it in the chat.
Yes, thank you. I apparently cannot see the chat when I'm presenting. I saw that you put that in there, though, Sue. Thank you. So this publication was created and funded by that grant, and it was created in partnership with Tampa Bay Water. So the content in here has also been vetted by Tampa Bay Water. You all know this, but we kind of start off talking about water, what water is, basically, where it comes from, why we need water. And then we move on to talking about the water cycle and the importance of water source protection. And of course, there's some images in there of the Florida aquifer system. One of the things that Warren talked about that it's important for students to know is that there are three sources of water: the groundwater, the river water, and the desalinated seawater. So all this information is actually in that publication. And we also have lots of different activities. I know this is really small print, and I'm going to show you what the activities look like. But the one big thing I want to mention to you is that the standards are listed under every activity. So our goal is not to just tell you that we have groundwater that's hidden below our feet, but also to get students to make the connection between what they're learning academically as well as what's going on in their community. And I should be, there we go. Okay. You can all see the website, right? Oh, you can't. Okay. What are you looking at, my PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. I'm going to switch. I'm going
Keep
to,
talking when I'm muted.
I'm sorry.
I keep talking when I'm muted. We were seeing your PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you. I will, I do that all the time. I talk when I'm muted too. I'm gonna switch to this. And now you're seeing the website. Yes? Okay, good. So the Be a Pinellas County Water Protector publication is located on our science site, and I'm going to show you in a minute how I got here. We have both the publication and a teacher guide. The purpose of the teacher guide was to give activities to students a little younger than fourth and fifth grade. The publication itself was created for keeping fourth and fifth grade students in mind. Okay, can you see the publication? Yes, okay, good. So I apologize. I was going to pull some of these pages out and do this for you a little less systematically than I'm about to, but for some reason our publication is huge. I think it's because all the great graphics we have. But okay, so as you can see, we start with talking about liquid water and liquid life. Water is actually in 3 states, not just liquid, right? And we talk about the aquifer system, we talk about the hydrologic cycle, talk about why it's important to have water, what we talk about the fact that our lungs are 83% water, water controls the Earth's temperature. We have all these fun facts. And we also hear the first activity, as you can see, the standards are listed right underneath it. Why is there a dinosaur there? Can anyone tell me? Anybody know the facts about water and dinosaurs?
Water has been around. The same water is recycling. So the water the dinosaurs drink and use, we're using that same water today.
Absolutely. Good job. That is correct. Basically, water has always been there, and our job as customers or citizens or water drinkers is to make sure that we protect that water. We have some more facts here. We have some information about specifically where the drinking water comes from. We talk about everything being connected, which Warren talked a little bit about as well. It's important for students to understand that their ecosystem and your ecosystem and your neighbor's ecosystem are all tied together. Oops. Come on. I don't know why it's taking so long. So I wanted to jump down a little bit here to show you these pumps. These are booster pumps that I believe, let me look here. It says that it's 2,000 square miles, ranging in size from 100 horsepower to 3,000 horsepower. So water is also very powerful. And then down here, if this lets me move. I wanted to go to, there we go. I wanted to go to the desalination, just to show you that we have some images of the desalinization plant, along with some facts about it. I am an English teacher, so reverse osmosis is very foreign to me, and all this information I think is really fascinating for kids to know about. One of the other things that's really fascinating for kids to know about is the idea that they need to protect and preserve water. And this is always my favorite thing because I think kids like to know that they need to make sure they scoop the poop, because I think there's a book out there that says everybody poops. But why you need to do that so that those microorganisms don't get into the source water, as well as safely disposing of hazardous household products. Reducing the amount of trash that you produce, which Warren talked about, and also making sure that you don't litter, that you put trash in its proper place. And before I switch gears, I want to talk about the contest. So, Sue, did you want to talk about it, or do you want me to?
You're on a roll, so you can just
Okay.
keep going.
Excellent. So we have a letter to the editor challenge for students. This is for Pinellas County students. So if you are not in Pinellas County, I apologize. The rest of the material in this publication you can use at will for Hillsborough and Pasco County as well. But this is a specific letter to the editor challenge for Pinellas County students. As a class, write a letter to the editor of the Tampa Bay Times about a local water issue and submit it to, there's a web address there. And the best 3 letters will win their class pizza party and will be considered for publication in the Tampa Bay Times. We don't usually put students' letters in the Tampa Bay Times, but our editorial team thought this was a great idea. So if you, it would be great if your students would participate in this challenge. The QR code will take you to the website to submit your letter. But there also, like I said, there's a link here, and there's some specifics about writing a letter, since students don't know how to write letters. There's specific rules letting you know that there needs to be a salutation, there needs to be a date. You need to have, if you're talking about a specific article in the newspaper, they need to reference that. And then at the bottom, it says that they need to have a signature block with the class, the teacher, and the school, so that we can award the top prizes. So if you are interested in participating in that, I'm going to show you the website in a minute as well, but this is the last page of the publication. There's also information on the last page of the publication about Tampa Bay Water and what you can request from them, that they have speakers, you can book a tour, you can learn about source water protection and conservation, and you can also find out specific information, chemical information about the water that is being supplied. Okay, so I am going to.
Hey, Jody.
Yes.
I just want to mention that the deadline for that contest
Thank you.
Is it November 30th? Can you remind me?
It's November
1st.
I think it's November 1st.
Yeah, November 1st. So
I do not see it on there.
I just looked on the website. So
Okay, perfect.
folks,
Thank you.
we are looking just to because I had this question from a couple of teachers. We're not looking for every student to write a letter. We're looking for one letter that's written by the class, and we will not be printing individual student names in the newspaper. So the credit line literally would be Mrs. Smith's first grade class at Smith Elementary or whatever, if anyone was curious about that. Anyone who has questions, you can obviously get in touch with Jody if there's anything unclear about the contest. But I dropped the contest website in the chat, and on the website there is a downloadable flyer, and there's also a link to the official rules.
Thank you so much for posting those links in the chat, Sue. I appreciate that. Okay, I am gonna. Can you all see? Are we back on the website, or are you still looking at the publication website? Okay, good. Okay, so a couple of things I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to go back to talking about Tampa Bay Water in a second. So this is our website. It's tampabay.com/NIE. If you are looking to sign up for newspapers, you would click on that sign up here button. If you are looking to log on to the digital edition, you would just click on this, and your students and you will use the same information that I send you if you sign up for that. We have a couple of important places for you to go on here. So the first one is curriculum. So if you go to our curriculum tab and you click on science, you will see this is where I pulled up the publication that I just showed you. We also have a couple of other publications from Tampa Bay Water, and I specifically wanted to talk about this one for a minute. We no longer have this one in print, but we have lots of information about careers in this one. So this one was called Answers on Tap. I think that the salaries based on Warren's presentation are probably a little old. So the salaries are probably a little outdated, but there's some really interesting information here if you want to talk to students about careers in water. And this was called Answers on Tap. We also, last year, through the mini grant program, we produced a teacher guide, starting at the source, water protection teacher guide. And this has activities for elementary, middle, and high school. This is a 8.5 by 11 PDF. Thanks to the brilliant, this one doesn't have it. Oh, okay. So never mind. This one doesn't have a table of contents. So what this one does have is, it has all of the, it'll have a headline, it'll have all the activities, and then it will give you what the standards are, letting you know what grade level it is. These activities probably start around 3rd grade. And if you go back to, because I forgot to pull it up, if you pull up the teacher guide for Be a Pinellas Water Protector, this one does have a table of contents, and this one starts with activities starting in kindergarten. So we have some basic things here, having students just look for people using water, animals using water, looking for people doing things in water, things growing in water, life in water. And this is separated by, I believe, yes, this is separated by topic. So this is available to you as well, and it can be printed out and shared. You can also take pages out of this and post them on Canvas if you want. Same thing with the publications. You can pull specific pages out and put them on Canvas as well if you don't want to do the whole thing. And I think that I noticed that we had, maybe I'm wrong about that. Do we have anyone here from Pasco County? Yes, we do. We do have somebody from Pasco County, so I just want to mention that we also have a brand new publication called Mission Possible Water for Tomorrow that was created in partnership with the Pasco County utilities. And that is also available, and it has some more activities and information specific to Pasco County. I'm going to go back up to the top here. Our weekly lessons is another really great tool for teachers to use. There are news videos. There are use the news activities, which can be used as bell ringers. They cover all different subject matters. Here's the power of slow science. Talking about pumpkin season, talking about art. All of these are by grade level. I clicked on K through 4, but you can also click on 5 through 8, which you can see has a little more beef to it, and 9 through 12 as well. The archives for this are all on the side, so you can kind of jump around. And then if you go to our monthly topics page, you will also see that we have more information for you here with activities and resources for you to go to. I'm not sure that any of these actually apply to elementary schools at the present moment. They do not, because we are past National Newspaper Week, and the rest of these are more middle school and high school. I believe that Water Conservation Month is March, isn't it, Warren? Or is it April? It might be April. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's one of those months. And we usually have lots of materials that we post. Let's see. We have Earth Day. And yeah, I think it's all under Earth. So it's all under April. We have lots of conservation sources for you as well. So I'm also going to show you. So that was our weekly lessons, curriculum, monthly topics. Under our additional resources, we have lots of great information for you about our Educator of the Year contest, which will be kicking off in January. We have information about our webinars and workshops, what's coming up. All of the links to sign up are on the page as well. Most of our offerings this fall are webinars, but we do have a live workshop at the Florida Holocaust Museum on October 23rd that you can sign up for. And then I think everything else is a webinar. Any questions about that before I jump ahead? Okay, I'm just going to show you real quick the digital edition, and then I'm going to go back and talk a little bit more about some of the information I put on the PowerPoint presentation for you. So are you all looking at the login page? Okay, good. So the login page for the digital edition looks like this. Like I said, if you sign up for the digital edition, I will send you a username and a password that all of your students can use. They do not have to use anything fancy, that we do not collect their personal information. It is basically just a username, and that will be either your email address, or we can do a generic one. This looks very big to me, so it looks like I have made the font size big for when I was looking at it before. But basically you can, oh no, I have to move you. Basically the newspaper turns just like a regular newspaper does. You can click on specific articles. I'm trying to find something not political, and I am not having luck with that. So I'm going to go backwards, because I thought, nope. Nothing not political on the front page. Okay, so what I was going to do is just show you that you can click on an article and it will open up this way for you. It can also be translated into Spanish if you want students to, Spanish speakers to be able to listen in English and read the words in Spanish. And then you can also go into sections. So you can go straight to a section if you want to. You can create clippings. You can download a page, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And you can also go to the archives. So when you go to the archives, you have two ways of doing that. One is to click on a month and then just click on the date. Another thing that you can do is you can search, which I did earlier today, and I will show you the benefit of that in a second. Okay, so let's see if I can do this smoothly. If I can go back up. And we're back to my slideshow, right? Okay, I just showed you that. So what I did earlier today was I searched for something dealing with water in the newspaper, water conservation. And this article came up, which I found really interesting because at first I thought it had absolutely nothing to do with water until I looked at the article. And that's when I realized that even though we're talking about turf and we're talking about lawns, we're also talking about water runoff. We're talking about chemicals in the water. We're talking about taking away areas where water is not going to be easily able to sink into the aquifer and that sort of thing. So I thought this was actually a really interesting article and something that students would find interesting. So again, the way I found this was I just went into our archives and searched for water conservation. There are lots of, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh no, what happened? Oh, there we go. This is an older article. I actually don't remember the date when this was from, but there's usually something having to do with water protection in the newspaper, whether it is preventing spills or conservation. That you can talk to your students about. The other thing is photos. I love that picture with the dog. That is not a newspaper photo. I believe we got that from one of our clients. But again, the idea of cleaning up. We talked a little bit about storm water runoff. Whether you're whether you're parking a car, driving in a car. Whether you are watering your lawn, whether you're fertilizing your lawn, all of those things affect storm water runoff. I don't know why I'm having difficulties pronouncing that today. Before I show you my contact information, I just wanted to talk just a little bit again about the going beyond the text activities. All of our publications have activities that will tie back into using the newspaper. So we've connected talking about the aquifer and talking about ground source water and limestone and porous surfaces and all that, to the idea that an ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms in their physical environment. Basically, it's a community of living things that are working together, and then having the students look for information in the newspaper that connects that to them. And again, we've listed this has both science and language arts standards. And then my contact information, My contact information is here. Most of you all of you received an email from me, so you all know my email address. If you are getting newspapers, if you are signed up to get newspapers in print or digital versions, you will also be getting emails from me probably I try not to be too obnoxious, but sometimes they come more than once a week. I try not to do that to you, though. I know that you guys are very busy. We also have a Facebook page. We are looking for likes all the time. We post information about our program and about other things that are going on. So, for example, when the mini grant program at Tampa Bay Water opened, we posted that on our Facebook page for people to see. There's another grant program going on, and for I think it's the American Heritage. Is that right, Sue? American Heritage Chocolate has some mini grant programs going on that we posted. And then whenever we have contests, we have a writing contest, we have our Educator of the Year contest. We post that on Facebook as well to try to get the word out. There's a lot. I know some of you teach multiple subjects. There's a lot of information out there right now for America's 250th birthday, the Bill of Rights Institute, the Louis Frey Institute, and there was one more that, Facing History and Ourselves are doing all kinds of webinars that are available to you that we're posting on our Facebook site as well. So if you feel like liking us, that would be great. This order nie@tampabay.com email address is probably easier to remember than mine. Either of those, you can email us and we will help you if you're looking for something specific. We are also trying to promote people to come out and talk to teachers during the Great American Teach-In. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you can email us as well. If you're looking for something specific, we try to help where we can. I don't think anybody who signed up is outside of our outside of the Tampa Bay area. But if you are here or you are watching this from outside of the Tampa Bay area, then please email me if you're looking for access to the digital edition. We can help with that as well. One of the other things that I didn't mention is for our curriculum supplements, like Be a Pinellas County Water Protector. Some of those we have lots of print copies available that we can send to you. It will tell you on the website if it's available in print or not. If we do have copies, you can email us and let us know how many you would like for your students. We still have copies of the Water Protector publication available, so you can email us and we'll ship you copies for your class if you didn't get enough. When they first went out, I believe they just went out to Pinellas County elementary schools. So if you are in a private school, or if you need more in Pinellas, or if you need more in another county, we'll be happy to send those to you as well. Our goal is to try to get the information out to you as painlessly as possible. But sometimes it takes us more. We have a little bit longer turnaround time than a day. So if you are looking for something for a unit that you're doing in the future, let us know. We also have some really good partnerships with some of the with Florida Aquarium, with Tampa Bay Water, with the utilities departments in both Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. And we're happy to help you contact people if you're looking for speakers for your classes, or if you're looking for field trips. That was a lot of ums. I apologize. Questions? No questions. I'm just looking at the little notes in the chat. Thank you very much, Sue, for posting all this. That is awesome. Yes, we also have, as Sue mentioned, we have a copy of copies of our Space for All publication available to you. Actually, let me show you real quickly. I lost the website. Where'd the website go? Okay, wait a minute. I think I have too many. I have too many things open. Let me quickly, there we go. Okay, if I'm going to go back to science again for a minute. We have, be a Pinellas County Water Protector. We have print copies. We also have print copies of our recycling guides, both in Hillsborough and Pinellas. This is the Mission Possible I was talking about that we put out with Pasco County. We also have copies of our hurricane guide that we did with Pinellas County available if you would like to order those. We have plenty of copies of Safeguarding Wildlife, which we just put out to schools. I believe that went out maybe 2 weeks ago. We did that in partnership with the Florida Aquarium, and we have plenty of copies of those available as well. And Space for All, the reason I wanted to show it to you is because there's actually lots of extra things available for this one as well. So we have the publication. We also have a beautiful PDF of the timeline that we created that is available online. And we also have a teacher guide that I believe is just shy of 100 pages. No, it's probably not that long, but we have a teacher guide that's available as well. So if you're looking for any of those materials, again, I went to curriculum and I went to science. We have some past work that we've done with Tampa Bay Water up here as well that we no longer have available in print, but we do have available for you digitally. If you're looking for any other subjects, you would just click on the subjects, your social studies, language arts, and we have health and physical science available as well. Unfortunately, this is the anniversary of Milton, I believe, is this week. I've been told, so it is also the anniversary of when we lost our headquarters to a giant crane, thanks to Milton. So some of the things that we had stored, some of the publications we had stored, we no longer have in storage anymore since we don't have our main building anymore. But all of that stuff is available for you. All of it is free of charge. All of our lessons are available to you as well. And I think I have covered everything except our drawing. Did I miss anything, Sue?
No, I don't think so. I think we are ready for prizes.
Right. So does anybody have any questions before we talk about prizes?
Jody, I did put contact information in the chat. If
Excellent.
anyone is interested in resources we can provide or a tour of facilities, my email address is posted, whogg@tampabaywater.org. And also Brandon Moore is our communication manager. His email is in there as well, bmoore@tampabaywater.org.
Excellent.
And Brandon would be the contact for anyone who has a question about the grant.
Correct.
My question may be a little bit off topic. To WHOGG. My nephew just graduated from Florida State in August, and he's looking for employment. And he has a degree in a bachelor's of science degree in science, safety and security with the focus on crime scene investigation. Does that kind of fit you all when you mentioned something about cybersecurity? Would that fit?
We do have staff in our IT section that do cybersecurity. I think we have at least 3 people now dedicated to protecting our internet presence and data. We do have safety security staff because we have to maintain pretty tight security of our public water system.
Okay.
So if he goes to tampabaywater.org, there is a tab for working with us, and it lists our careers and any job openings we currently have.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
I'm trying to pull up this image and it won't pull up for me. Okay. I was going to say, since we have such a small crowd here, every teacher will be getting a Tampa Bay Water bag that has lots of cool stuff in it. It's got, I was trying to pull up the picture and I couldn't. It's got stickers, reusable straws. I believe there is a low flow shower head in the bag. I will be, there's lots of cool information that our friends in the communications department that put together. So I will be in touch with you about how to get those to you. But we do have a drawing for a gift certificate to Applebee's that we're going to do. And I have to remember, let's see if I can remember how to do this. So we have a fun little wheel. Let's see. We have, let me see if I've got everybody's names. Here we go. Okay. So I have Catherine, I have Candace, I have Danielle, I have Catherine, Summer, and that's it. So your chances are good. So let me see, let me see if I can pull this, if I can remember how to do this. Oh, okay. So now I'm going to share so you can see it. Our IT guy would be laughing at me right now. Okay, so here's our little wheel. Isn't that cute? And I'm going to spin the wheel and one of you will get a gift certificate. Oh, that was so close. So Catherine is our winner. And I will be in touch with you. Yay. Okay. So does anybody have any other questions? We will be sending you a certificate of completions probably next week. I will be in touch with you about the gift certificate and about the swag bags to find out where to send them. And if you have any questions or you need anything else, please feel free to email me. I'm going to post this video after it does its thing. It always has to go through some processing process. I will be posting the video on our YouTube page. So you can, and I'll send you the link so that you can share it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. I know that everyone's had a long day and I really appreciate you showing up.
Thank you all. You'll have a good night, everyone.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.